Okay, boys and girls, and everybody else who may not have decided yet, this is a HeathKit amplifier. I have to look. I'll put the model number on the description because I don't know what it is. I think it's a 18 or something like that. This came from the auction, unknown condition. The guy had it plugged into electricity when I found it. So if someone turned it on and blew it up, the damage is already done. I was debating, how do I want to do this? Do I want to be ultra careful? Do I want to whatever? Do I want to take this apart and do deep analysis? And I really don't. So we're going to just turn it up gently on the variac and see what happens. So we'll just start at, and I already got a click and a pop out of it. When I moved it up to like 20-ish volts, it went poop, it gave a pop. So it tried to live. I turned it back down as soon as I heard a pop. We'll just creep it up here. That's like 25 volts. Let's see. Is it making any noise? No. I don't even have a power light at this point. 25 usually doesn't get it. There's 40. Still nothing. There's 50 volts. Starting to get a dim power light. Alright. Not hearing any amplification factor though. Yeah? A little bit of a crackle out of it. Come on, you can do it. It wants to. When I plug in, it ticks. It's thinking about it. What are we at on voltage now? We're at 65-ish. A little bit of a glow. One would think I would get a lot of noise, but I don't. Let's try another input. Still not really. It's about 75 volts, 75, 80 volts. I got a power light. One would think I'd get something out of something. Some kind of noise. But I don't. Let's see if we're in the danger zone here. Let me unplug the speaker. Turn the volume down. Unplug the speaker. Let's check for DC on the speaker. See if we see anything back there. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. The speaker's making a shuffly noise when I plugged or unplugged. At least says they're alive. Okay. Voltage. Is there voltage? Stray voltage on our output. That meter is a jittery little bugger. It's showing millivolts, but it's jumping all over the place. Let me pick a range. Okay, so this auto ranging meter is bouncing around like a troubled child on crack. I took it out of automatic range mode, and DC volts across this is like nothing. The maximum I'm getting out of this is like, it's just crappy connectionness, but when I get a connection here, I'm looking at like less than a millivolt. There's really no DC here. So this might be safer than I thought it was. It's probably better to creep it up anyway. We're at like 90 volts, which is more than I was at for a while. I think I might just want to plug this speaker back in and give it another go. Okay, so due to plenty of corrosion, the speaker jack on the back was making crappy connection. I didn't see a lot of DC coming out of this, but I'm still taking it easy. We're running at about 95 volts. That's the bass channel. That works. Let's try the microphone input. That's good. And let's try the guitar input. This is showing a lot of potential. And what's crazy is there isn't a lot of noisy humming. My thought is with this, let's check the reverb. Let's turn up the reverb. The reverb makes a lot of noise, but it works. And then trim a low, 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 low. Okay. We got some crusties. We got some crusties, we got some cracklies. This is my theory. This is why I plugged it in and turned it on. You guys know I buy stuff at auctions because I tell you about it all the time. With this kind of stuff, you look for clues. The individual that had this or owned it, a lot of the other stuff in the auction, there were things like tube testers, ham radios, oscilloscopes, lots of test equipment, okay? So my thought is whomever owned this ahead of me knows a little something about electronics. And considering that I found it plugged in, I figured it hasn't been sitting idle for 35 or 40 years. And it may have been serviced, okay? The pots and switches are filthy, and the connectors are filthy. So, you know, this may have sat for 10 years. I don't know. But considering it came from somebody who probably had some kind of electronic experience, we're not in nearly as bad of a way as we could have been, because the amp basically works. We're still going to open it up. We're still going to look for bubbling, failing, out of spec, out of tolerance components, but in the general world of things, it works. I still don't know what HM is. Is that harmonic? There's this thing over here. There's a switch next to the brightness switch named H-M. Anybody know what that means? And I suppose I could read the manual. That's always a thought. But I don't like reading manuals. I like to kick tires and light fires. We didn't light a fire on this one, though. But we did make it kind of work. Okay, kids, so I opened the back of it here. In the back of the head, there's a storage pouch, and that led me to find the foot switch. Hippie speakers. We got a Jensen horn. It's like a wood horn speaker for a tweeter. And then we've got two USA-made Pyle drivers. So those were... Pyle was the descendant of Utah. And the numbers on those are like 109 86 something. So I think these are like, it seems like that's 80s, which is kind of weird. But there's also a code over there that has something something 88. So I'm wondering if this was like a late kit. Was HeathKit even still working on these in the 80s? Did they still exist then? This technology seems older than the 80s. But again, speaker codes. Some people can do them in their sleep. I can usually do them. But despite the fact that those are pile speakers, by default everybody was automatically going to want to jump on them and start chanting pile of junk. But the old USA made ones are perfectly fine. Those are not a garbage speaker. I wonder how old the rest of this is. Okay, so there have been other members of YouTube crowds that have done these. I mean, whoever built this actually did pretty nice work. Check out that wire looming. That's pretty slick, huh? I like that they didn't bother to put the caps in any place that you could read them, but I suppose if that's the way they were mounted, that's the way they're mounted. But what do you think? Is there any clue that this could maybe use some electrolytic capacitors? These are Japanese electrolytic capacitors, which in modern times is considered a good thing over Chinese, but in olden times was not necessarily a good thing compared to, say, Sprague, the American, or the Mallory, the American. Yeah. So I think we're going to need a cap job. Take a look at that thing. Holy moly. That's a capacitor, man. I mean, that's beefy. That's what? 4 inch, 3.5, 4 inches in diameter? Good grief. What is that? 90 volts DC. Let's say 8,000 microfarad. I think something like that. Woo doggy. Well, let's see what we have in stock. I don't think y'all really want to watch another boring recap video. I'm gonna clean pots and recap. Sounds like a typical amp maintenance, doesn't it? Okay, so if it decides to focus, we're making progress. We've got some of the capacitors changed. All the little 10 microfarad, and trust me, these were way out of spec. You know, electrolytic caps are plus 10 minus, or plus 20 minus 10. These things are like 50 to 100% over, so they're leaky as leaky can be. So we've got just a bunch of the small values here. Got these. This one I've got on order. This one I've got on order. That one's actually goes through the speakers to prevent DC from flying out to the output, which is kind of cool. And we got that big Mamma Jamma filter. Meantime, I'm concentrating on this reverb tank, which was held in place by some kind of sponge rubber whatever. It's a Accutronics Hammond. You know, nice reverb tank. It's still in good shape. Let's see, that says it's 4FB2A1C. And we're going to need to mount this in some way other than the sticky tape that just, turned to garbage. So we're going to put some grommets in the holes and maybe attach it with 2 screws. Okay, so I put 4 grommets on there, so essentially like rubber feet to ride on, and then we got a little nut and bolt there, and a little nut and bolt there. Now that's not going to fall out. I'm sure that double stick tape was plenty strong, but it ain't going to last all these years without deteriorating. Max Pro Electronics lubricant. We're going to clean all the pots. Spray it in the gap, turn the pot a whole bunch of times. If you want some of this stuff along with the contact cleaner, which is super good, I sell it on my Reverb channel, or on my Reverb store. Just look for it on Reverb, Max Pro Electronics lubricant and contact cleaner. You'll be supporting the channel. Okay, so we're back. We have our last 3 capacitors. These were not selected because of their idealness for everything. Basically, they were what I could fit in here for sure and was close enough on the value. Like a 500 microfarad 75 volt ain't gonna come easy. So the orange thing there, that's a 470 100 volt, which is more affordable, you know. That one there is a 4000 50 volt, so you have a 4700 50 volt, much smaller physically. And then the big can over there I think is 9000 90 volt or something like that. So we have 9800 100 volt, you know, close enough. I didn't think it would be this one, but that's the grandest size difference I've seen from a 40 microfarad 50 volt, the big boy, versus a 47 microfarad 50 volt, the little one. Technology, people. So my solution for the new capacitor being a much thinner diameter than the old capacitor is just to wrap the new one with electrical tape to bring it up to the size to fit the mount. I know there's probably somebody who's mad at me for that, and I should have drilled and stuffed the new one in the old one or something like that. But I'm going to throw the original one in the box, and if somebody really feels like doing that, they can. But this is kind of a path of least resistance. It doesn't prevent anybody or hinder their ability to make this more original looking if they wanted to. But again, nobody's going to see it. They're only going to be looking at the outside. And that's a firm way to hold the capacitor in. Only one more. That one's, my new one is a little deeper, but it's going to fit. Okay, so with Big Blue in there, that completes our recapping adventure. The original Big Blue over there was 8000 microfarad 90 volt. That one I believe is 9800 microfarad 100 volt. Basically they jump right up to 10,000, so finding anything even under 10,000 is tricky, and the 8,000s just aren't common now. But as a filter cap, I don't see anything wrong with that. We updated our customs from like 4500s to 10,000s so I had some reservoir for bass, worked fine. So yeah, that completes the recapping. So as long as we didn't make any mistakes, the amp's gonna probably work and shouldn't blow up. Okay, just because you guys care about these kind of things, I did bring it up on a Variac. Big capacitors can be a big boom, but it works, everything's fine. It doesn't seem to come to life till you get to about 75-80 volts, and then it starts to come to life. Whatever's in this design, I've had some amps that, you know, solid stators that'll try to work at, you know, 70-80 volts. This one really does like full voltage before it wants to work, but yeah, it's fine. Everything's working. So I'm going to give it a bath and put it back together. I did find the foot switch. It was in the compartment in the back, so we have a foot switch to turn on the reverb and tremolo. And I did figure out what HM is. That's a clipping circuit, so it's kind of like a distortion slash fuzz circuit. So you put that on and it'll fuzz out your notes. It's just basically two diodes to ground on the guitar's preamp output, so it'll clip the top of your signal and square wave it out for you. But yeah, I think everything's working. The couple switches here, this bass boost switch, that switch is on the grubby side, but all the pots are good. I already cleaned those, so I just had to get under there, spray the switches, give it a bath, put it back together. Hooray! Okay, so there's the foot switch. It's got a button for reverb and tremolo. And there's the whole amp. Now that it's fixed up, I'm gonna give it a listen here. So bass all the way to 0. Bass all the way to maximum. Bass control is for very low bass. It's actually kind of cool there. That treble. And brightness. Which sounds almost like a power boost to me, to be honest with you. And then the HM, which is harmonic clipping, this is like a fuzz circuit. distortion circuit. Interesting to see a fuzz circuit on here. Like I say, this is a loud as crap guitar. Let's turn the guitar's input signal down a little bit and make it nice, and then let's try the fuzz again. A subtle fuzz. It's a fuzz, but it's a subtle one. And then reverb is surfy. That's at 5. That's probably too much. It seems more like 3 is about right. So we're good there. Everything's working. I did try to play a bass through the bass side. That sounds okay. And the mic preamp works too, so we can call it good. Oh wait, I didn't check the tremolo, so we gotta hear the tremolo, right? So yeah, our HeathKit solid state combo amplifier, which is model TA-17. I don't know if I said that. This has got 2 speaker jacks, so you could have bought 2 pairs of speakers for it, but the speaker's a 3-way, 2 12s and a tweeter horn. Kind of cool, you know. I don't know that this is going to replace your most coveted amplifiers, but if you're looking for just a clean platform, it fits the bill very, very well. Not quite as hot as the Standell, a little bit more controllable, but in some ways it kind of reminds me of the Standell with the way the circuit's designed and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I like it. I think it's cool, and hopefully we'll be able to find him a new home. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.